It's been a while, but I'm joined once again by AnimeAjay.
Hello, I'm back to
And
ramble again forever.
but this time we actually have something that's pretty fun to ramble about, I'd say.
We do. Oh god, we're finally past the horrible, horrible retellings where it's just like, and this episode was okay, and then this one was terrible. And yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun this time.
Yeah. I mean, there will be a few episodes like that, but for the most part, I think it's pretty fun. We
Yeah,
are, of course, talking about the Universe 6 arc,
we
which
are. Which was God so anticipated, and yet looking back on it now, I'm kind of so meh about it on the whole. Like it was a fine arc, but yeah, I feel like if Super had began with this, then okay, it was like a fairly interesting start. But after like God, however many weeks before we got to the new stuff, it was a bit like, oh Jesus, this tournament is not going anywhere. But oh
yeah,
well.
this is same format as the last two, episode by episode. I'm not sure if we'll have to break this up into two videos because we're also going to include that filler arc that happens after the tournament.
The
So
most creative thing Toei has ever done.
yeah, not poor planning in any way by on their part.
No,
But so if I have to split this up into two videos, I will. If it pushes like 2 hours, I probably will. But
it's
that'll
fine. We can nail this.
yeah, we got this. So first up, we have episode 28, which is supervised by none other than Yoshitaka Yashima himself.
Our favorite.
Yes,
But
and
today, not so much our favorite anymore.
not really. But this was pretty much animated just by Yashima and Miyako Tsuji.
Which is really embarrassing because I didn't work out who Suji was until what, like halfway through the Goku Black arc. Like I just had no idea, and so it's kind of silly that I didn't watch this episode and go, well, I know who Yashima is. The only other animator on this episode is Suji. It's so obvious who is who here, and so I guess I don't know. Like for some reason at the time, I think so many of us just went, oh, maybe like this scene was more rushed, and then Yashima was like tidier here, rather than like doing the most logical thing and just going, oh, it's two different people. Okay, fine. So, yeah, but I guess like the most interesting, or I don't even want to say interesting because it's not interesting. It's horrible, and I hate it. This was like the big debut of Yashima's like big trait, which is his pointy noses, and
So
I know
pointy.
so pointy. Oh my god! Like we've spoken about this in the past about how yeah he does love his pointy noses, but this is where it gets like so ridiculous. Like there's pictures of Goku where like his nose is basically between his eyes and comes to like a proper like it's like an Uchiyama point from like back in Z.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's so ugh. But what's silly is that it's not even a badly animated episode. It's just like his style is so unappealing in this episode. It's just not nice.
This also marks the start where he starts to draw Goku's hair really weird. Like,
Oh god, yeah.
where it's
It
like
looks
it's
like it could kill a
shorter.
man.
Yeah. Tsuji didn't animate that much. Like, the there was the scene where Champa took out his egg was animated by her. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think there's like it's very very few scenes that are done by her. I think there's like a couple of close-ups of Goku and Vegeta, and then some bits and bobs here and there. But for the most part, yeah, it's a Yashima solo episode with a bit of help, I guess.
Pretty much. He even storyboarded it, so this is mostly
Yeah,
him.
this is the type of Yashima episode that I want to see in Super. Like it's him being able to actually do his job, so
Yeah,
that's good.
definitely. I guess there was that really weird fight between Beerus and Champa about halfway through, which was
Yeah, that was odd.
don't know why they even really included it, but it's
Yeah,
whatever.
I feel like I feel like because we'd seen that thing in the manga that was like
Oh
this
my
cool
god,
space
it was
battle,
so
and we were
cool
like,
in the
oh yeah,
manga.
it was great. And then we got to this, and it's like, oh, we're just standing on a table and punching each other with like the most awkward movement, and like the floor opens up, and it's just, yeah, oh well.
Wait, no, I'm actually okay with it existing if for no reason other than that gag where like Vegeta was like off in the corner while they were fighting. That was
I
funny.
I don't even remember it. It's been too long. But yeah, I mean, it was a fine opener, but for the arc. But it was, if you compare it to something like 47, I'm sure we'll get to at some point. It's so different from what we would have expected. But I guess we'll feel that way for the next couple of episodes that we talk about, because it seemed like this was sort of save super time. They'd obviously rushed through the F arc, and then everything was sort of very, very conservative for the most part, up until sort of the battles began, where things improved marginally. So, can forgive it.
Episode 29 is also pretty conservative.
It is, but it is nice looking.
It is nice, and it was supervised by Yukihiro Kitano and Osamu Ishikawa.
And this is like Kitano, where we thought, oh, Kitano's still fine. He's okay. He can do stuff with time.
We weren't bummed on him yet.
No, and this is probably like one of my favorite Ishikawa episodes, just because his character is so nice and like friendly. I don't even know how else to describe it. Like, everyone is so bubbly and nice and cute.
Yeah, definitely. He didn't do a ton. It was mostly just close-ups. But what he did do was very, very good.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say on it. It was a fine episode. It was kind of like it felt like an extension of 28, basically. You could watch the two back to back, and it wouldn't feel like two separate episodes, I don't think.
Yeah, I think this is the episode where Tights first shows up, so that's nice.
Yeah, I believe so.
And this was also where we got that interesting angle of Bulma when she summoned Shenlong.
Oh God, yep. The birth of a meme.
Yeah, I blame Kaizawa for that. Kaizawa's storyboards.
Oh Jesus. Yep. That makes sense.
I won't be mad though. I can't be mad at that.
No, never ever complain.
Well, episode 30 is about as conservative as you can get.
Recap episode.
It's a recap, and I know there were a lot of people who hated this episode. It was.
I don't know why though. There was nothing. Know. It was fine.
It was supervised by Masahiro Shimanuki.
Yeah, though even though it says it was supervised by Shimanuki, I feel like realistically it was Tsuji and Shimanuki, because the entire first half is just Tsuji and then Shimanuki at the end.
Yeah. And this even though 25 was like a good step for Shimanuki, I think this is where we all started to go like, he's getting better and better.
Yeah, this is fun. This is like, I love talking about Shimanuki because I feel like it's every single episode that we go through, it's always just he's getting better, and I cannot wait until we obviously hit the Future Trunks arc, Goku Black arc, Zamasu arc, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll just get happier and happier and happier.
Yeah.
No, it was really cool. You obviously had Piccolo looking great.
His Piccolo was fantastic.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, there was, I don't know, everything was fine. I mean, the sort of long shots, I guess if you want to call them that, the full body shots are still left a lot to be desired. I thought everyone was still kind of Munchkin looking, but I mean, close-ups were fine, which was great. What is kind of strange is that Koji Nishizawa was the top credited key animator on this, and I still have no idea what he did or what he looks like. I don't know.
Yeah, for all we know, Mama Tsuji just corrected him out the wazoo because she tends to do that.
It's her favorite thing.
But I found it really weird how upset people were at this episode. Although it might just be me, because recap episodes are what Super probably needs.
Yeah, I guess like from a fan perspective, of course, people never ever like recap episodes, especially on a week-to-week basis where they can't skip it, and it's like, now we have to wait another week for the story to actually progress. Like even though obviously there was stuff towards the end of this where it did progress the story a bit, it was still kind of boring. Yeah, so I mean, I think for us we were obviously celebrating because we had, like I said in the past episode, we just come off of a hellhole of an arc, and they were taking steps to fix things. So this was nice, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess I can't understand why people were upset. It's just Like if Super were to have a couple of recap episodes in a row, I'd be like, you know what? Okay, if it helps, whatever. Because
Yeah, that'll be fine.
usually I wouldn't like that at all, but I think Super is a rare exception.
Yeah, I feel like if they'd done like a tactical recap where they like did it like a recap and then they happen to have a week off the next week, that would be nice. That would be smart.
Definitely.
But yeah, I guess I don't really have much else to say on 30.
Episode 31 is fun because this is when Yuichi Karasawa, our boy, shows up.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected Karasawa to become what he essentially is today for Super when he popped up in this episode. It was kind of just like, oh, a new supervisor. And this episode is kind of nice, but then, I don't know, I don't think anyone expected he was going to then, of course, come along later on in this arc, which we'll talk about. And then, from basically every episode on, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, he's basically given all of the big episodes now.
Yep, he's our boy.
Yep.
I mean, this episode is kind of a mess in terms of being put together. You've obviously got people from Toei Animation Philippines supervising with him. You've got, them doing key animation as well. And then there's like a whole bunch of second key animators in about 4 different studios, all helping to get it done. So, yeah, I mean, it is kind of like the recap episode in the sense that it's obviously taking a lot to get done and presumably to get it done quick as well so they can move on. But yeah, it looked pretty nice. It wasn't perfect, but of course Karasawa, as we know, is a terrific supervisor and he made it look great. So
I think he also did key animation for it. Did he do Jocko versus Bertman, I think?
Probably. I honestly can't remember. But I should probably mention this. I did zero research for this video. I'm just talking off the top of my head and staring at my own notes from like ages ago. So,
yeah. One last fun thing is they had a reaction shot that was actually taken straight from the manga with Piccolo, Goku, and Vegito.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that was a great scene.
Yeah. Did I call him Vegito? I think I did by accident.
Maybe. Vegeta on the brain.
Yeah. Whoops. Alright. Well, there's not really much else to talk about as far as 31 is concerned. So, I guess
let's move on to the best. Good old 32.
Yeah. Church of Tate.
Here we go. Let the worship begin.
Yeah. So, this episode was supervised by Naoki Tate, Akira Kano, and Kaori Takamura. And so Tate pretty much just handles the first half of the episode here. And the other two take over after that, even though they're not felt much, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't really know about this one. Like, obviously you can see Tate for the entire second half, and then for the entire first half, and then you get to the second half, and it's basically all Suji. So, yeah, I don't really know too much about what happened in the second half, but the first half is interesting to me because even though I love Tate, and even though it does begin with this Tate cut of Goku and Vegeta in the Room of Spirit and Time training, it's kind of messy for Tate. I mean, it's like it's still fairly well animated, but it's the sort of his use of like smears and the timing, I don't know, it all just seems a little bit funky.
Yeah,
I don't really. It's so hard to put into words when you're talking about animation. But for example, like when there's a bit where like Goku spins around, and Tate's like a big fan of adding those like sketchy lines to arms and stuff to sort of accentuate movement, and they're not supposed to be super visible. They're supposed to be there to just subtly, exaggerate something. But there's like that one bit where Goku spins with his arms, and it looks like little porcupine spikes just spawn from his arm, and they're constantly there for like the entire turn. So that doesn't really work out too well. But yeah, I mean, it's still a great piece of action animation for Super, but it's not Tate's best.
No. But he does redeem himself later on with a nice piece of character acting for Jocko.
He does. That is a nice bit, and I think stuff like that quite often goes unnoticed. A lot of people tend to just think about action animation when it comes to good animation, but being able to animate such personality from a character is wonderful, and he does a great job in that scene.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so after the first half, there's not really much else to talk about, so we'll just go on to 33, which is, to me, the most frustrating episode of Super. Or at least the most
By a
disappointing.
mile. Oh god. Yeah, I don't think there are many episodes that come close to being this disappointing, except for maybe I think it was what, like episode 60 or episode 6 or 15. I can't remember, something recent where we were so hyped and just let us down. But this especially was just such a letdown for many, many reasons. The first being, hey, this is the first episode of the tournament, the first match. We've waited for this to begin for forever. And it was also the return of Seizo Toma, who, of course, did a wonderful episode in episode 4. And we were like, oh, he must have gone. But then, oh, look, he's back for this episode. And it's just not good. It's bad. No. It's very, 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 very bad.
Very bad. And it might not be like the ugliest episode of Super, but it's only saved by that because of a kind of presentable second half where things get okay, I guess.
Yeah, like this is Yukihiro Kitano coming in alongside Toma. Yeah, I mean, like Kitano is not fantastic in this, but he's significantly better than Toma, which is surprising.
Weird.
Yeah.
But like the thing with Toma is he specializes in character animation, and it's weird that they brought him back for like a fight episode.
Yeah,
and,
he obviously
have to be top credited animator as well.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I don't really understand what was going on there. I've never seen Toma do any sort of good action animation, so yeah, I don't really understand it. He was obviously the top credited key animator, so he must have done as much as the most highest number of cuts, which is probably explains why so much of it wasn't great. And it's just a really inconsistent looking episode on the whole, because obviously you have someone like Toma who has a very distinct style. You have someone like Kitano who is fairly on model but still distinct. Then you have the chief animation supervisor Takio Ide, who has a very, very, very distinct style and just sticks out like a sore thumb. And so everything just kind of changes from scene to scene. The animation is very, very poor. And even though there are a couple of very nice shots in the second half, I mean, the storyboard was actually pretty good. I think it was a Yoshima board of all things. And yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of a letdown, but it sort of ended on a reasonable high, at least going into 34, I thought.
After that disappointment, we get met with another Yoshima episode,
which is really, really good. I don't think anyone expected it to actually be good.
It was pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very solid. And I remember watching the preview and thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, it's Yoshima. When has he ever done anything that is, action-based and actually decent? I mean, you had that episode, back in the Frieza arc that was sort of, I should say golden Frieza arc, really, that was okay. But then you get this and it's not, I'm not going to, blow it totally out of proportion. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Like, Piccolo actually moves around, and you've got Miyuki Yokoyama there to sort of keep things in check and ensure that the art is, nice where it counts. And yeah, I don't know, it was fine.
Yeah, there were only a few suspect parts, like when Frost was like spinning in a circle and shooting beams out of his hand.
That and what's the bit I think it's where Piccolo is like trying to like punch Frost back, or maybe it's Frost punching Piccolo back, I forget, but it's a long shot and there's no impact to it at all.
Not
but
at all.
Yeah, on the whole I was fine with it. It was sort of like, it's the kind of episode I guess you sort of expect before things start to ramp up, and so yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. All right. 35, which is Osamu Ishikawa again and Kaori Takamura again.
This episode filled me with so many mixed emotions.
Yeah.
So many. So it's a very static episode, which is something that we're very used to now from Ishikawa. He's just kind of become, I mean, unless he's working with Tate as he does recently, everything is sort of static, nicely drawn, but static, and using, you know, as many sort of cheap tricks to try and fake motion as best as possible. And so the first half of this is about as, you know, fake as it goes. I believe this is where Vegeta does his whole one punch, and it's just like he hits Frost, and it's not even animated.
Animate the punch.
Yeah, it's just a still and some effects, and then it's suddenly Frost frozen in midair, and it just kind of like jumps between different frames. And like, okay, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not that great.
Yeah, well, it was at least better than the second half, which was really, really kind of suspect.
Yeah, that was not good at all. And again, what's frustrating is we have Koji Nishizawa as the top credited key animator in this episode, and I still have no idea what he did.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that was mostly him. Maybe Kaori Takamura just isn't a great supervisor. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have no idea either. But either way, even though the second half was sort of slightly more animated, there was still a lot of trickery going on to sort of, you know, fake more motion than there really, really was. I know that there's a bit where Vegeta flies under Mageta's legs. Yeah, it's not great. They just kind of enlarged the still for the most part, I think.
Yeah, it was mostly saved by Kaizawa probably turning in one of his better storyboards, I feel.
Yeah, I forgot about the storyboard. And you know what? It's such a waste of a storyboard as well, because I
really
remember there's a terrific scene, which is like this incredibly exaggerated angle of Frost stood there, but it's just executed so poorly to the point where like it doesn't even look like Frost is stood on the ground. It's like the animator couldn't comprehend the sort of warped perspective that was going on, and so it just ended up looking wonky and off.
Yeah, it is a shame, and that seems to happen a lot, which is kind of sad. This is also the episode where Kaizawa does that thing where people are reflected in each other's eyes.
Oh, he does love his eyes. And then other people started doing that as well, didn't they?
Yeah. I can't remember who, but I think that has shown up a few times from separate people.
Yeah.
Could be a Moria thing, too, because, like I said, that happened in episode 6, so it might be people emulating him.
I was going to say, yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. I couldn't remember who did it.
So I think that's 35. Episode 36 is actually a really fun one.
Yeah, this is a really great episode. We're going back to Shibanuki again, and hey, look, he's drawing characters well again.
Yes, this. Whereas everything was like improving. I'd say you could actually start to call this a return to form for him.
Yeah, definitely. This is like the big turning point, I thought. I mentioned this in the video that I did about Shimanuki a while ago. Obviously, on Z, he was really well known for his, you know, angular character art and the crazy debris. Of course, he did like the big Kamehameha versus the Gallic gun, or whatever you want to call it, in the Saiyan arc. And yeah, that's kind of back here to an extent. You have the scene at the end where Vegeta punches Mageta, and like the floor explodes, and, you know, debris pops up, and it's not actually animated. It's some nicely drawn debris kind of being moved around digitally, and that's obviously indicative of the schedule at this point. But on the whole, it was pretty good. Character art was mostly solid. There's some. Shimanuki is so good at drawing sort of beastie looking characters, and so there's some great shots of Beerus, which are just wonderful. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. And then, of course, this marks the debut of Futoshi Higashide.
Yeah, and he animated the Gallic cannon, Gallic gun, whatever you want to call it. And he also did a few close-ups of the final flash.
Yeah, this was so confusing for us at the time because obviously we didn't know who Higashide was at this point. It was just kind of another name on the staff list. We had no reason to sort of believe he would have done, you know, this and that. Like we didn't know who he was, and so we just kind of assumed that maybe it was like a chief animation supervisor or just somebody else coming in and you know, doing some work there. But No, it was obviously Higashide. Looking at it now, very, very obvious.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good stuff.
Very. So, I think that covers 36, and now we're on to 37, which is Karasawa back up again.
Yeah, this is surprising. I mean, I can't remember how many weeks it's been since his episode by this point, but not that many, I don't think. And so the quality of this episode is a little bit of a mixed bag, but on the whole, it's pretty good. And Karasawa is the top credited key animator. He did basically the great bit, the only great bit of animation in this episode, which is when Kabe goes Super Saiyan and rushes at Vegeta, punches him. There's crazy flurry, gets kicked up into the air. There's loads of cool effects as he gets like slammed into the ground, smoke everywhere. Really, really wonderful stuff. What else did we see? We got to see his character art sort of coming into its own with some of the reaction shots with Goku and Piccolo, which looks really, really wonderful. And even though Kurosawa does tend to correct fairly heavily, it was sort of a look at his style in a clearer way than we normally see. Talking about this from obviously a perspective where we're miles in the future now in Super. We've just had episode 66 where we got to see Kurosawa very, very, very clearly. And yeah, I don't think we really saw it as clearly as sort of this episode with obviously the reaction shots I'm talking about. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty good on the whole.
Yeah, definitely one of the best looking episodes in this arc.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there's sort of one portion of action in the first half that is really, really stiff and really, really awkward. But yeah, I think Kurosawa's scene, and then some of these really, really nice close-ups, really detailed, great shading. Kurosawa is obviously known for doing really, really interesting shading. Yeah, makes up for it, I think.
Definitely. But boy, oh boy, this next one, episode 38.
So, Tate, we're back. Right, so this is embarrassing, sort of, because this is like the one episode of Super that I've had the biggest emotional reaction to. And I don't even know... I mean, I kind of know why, but I also don't really at the same time, sort of looking back on it. But when I was watching this, I was literally like sat up on my bed with like my knees to my chest, like freaking out as soon as the action began. Like I was so unbelievably excited, like so childlike watching this. And I think it's because this is the first episode of Super where we had genuinely great animation for like a decent period of time, like spread across like an entire episode. And it was the first time that Super had really been serious from start to finish, and the direction was just so good, and I was just obsessed. Like I not obsessed, engrossed. I couldn't look away. I was just loving every minute of it. But yeah, so I mean, go ahead, tell them the technical details. That's my personal story with this episode.
I mean, I often go back and forth in my own head on whether or not this or episode 47 is my favorite Tate episode from like a technical standpoint, because the whole thing is animated well from like beginning to end for the most part, and like there's like an extraordinary like attention to detail as well, and like little things like knockbacks, even like we talked about that a little bit when the episode came out, about how when Vegeta would get knocked back by a hit, like Tate he did this really neat way for Vegeta like to fall backward, where he like bounced on the ground a few times and then he would slide.
Yeah, like there were so many little details. Like during that slide, in sort of most episodes before where people get knocked back on the floor, it's like they just kind of fall back and stop, and that's basically it. Whereas in this, he not only like gets knocked back and like the full body rotates, as soon as he hits the ground and starts sliding, like his arms sort of move realistically like along the floor. Like it's so well done, and I think it really, like even though the art is maybe perhaps a little bit less polished than sort of what we've seen from Tate with way more time in this current arc, I think the actual movement more than makes up for it, because it's so solid, and it It shows off all of these sort of principles of animation that Tate so clearly understands, and it's terrific. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Obviously, it's not the most perfect episode in the world. It's still still feels rushed because you have Studio One Pack, who did, I think I have it down here as 156 cuts throughout this, which is why you have people like Kinoshita and Kusanagi on here helping out. And I mean, the staff list is really, really long. You can definitely see parts where Suji hasn't been able to step in and correct things that don't look great, but the action on the whole, yeah, solid. Really, really good. Loved it.
Yeah, and as much great as Tate did, we also got a really neat cut from Jin Inaba as well, which was when Vegeta rushed at Hit, and like there was that really neat rotation before he punches him in the gut.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. But I love it, and it's and I feel like it highlights an issue with like supervisors not being able to do their jobs because it's so different from what the rest of the episode looks like that it almost stands out too much.
Yeah, and Inaba is a really on-model animator, so obviously it kicked in right when the rotation started, and it was like kind of surreal almost.
Yeah, it was so strange, but it works. Like it's cool. But, yeah.
And then there was that last bit of neat animation at the end from Tate with Goku versus Hit, which is really, really nice. I really like the part where Goku flies up into the air, and like before he comes back down, he turns into like a little smear. And he teleports behind Hit.
That was great.
Kicked in the gut.
I think my favorite part is sort of just as the scene begins, where Goku sort of gets down and like goes for like the lower leg sweep, and the camera comes in, and you kind of like lose all of the line art aside from like Tate's action lines, whatever. And it conveys so much impact just for like the start of the fight that it kind of, as an audience member, you're like, okay, we're really going at it now, which was, yeah, really, really well done.
Yeah, this episode is just great. I feel like such a fanboy right now.
Yeah, it's the best.
And then we have to go into episode 39 now, which I don't know, might ruffle some feathers.
Maybe.
This was supervised by Yukihiro Kitano and Shuichiro Manabe, and Manabe doesn't really show up much.
Yeah, you would basically have no idea that Manabe was here. The assistant animation supervisors were Yuji Hakamada and Yoichi Onishi. We don't really have confirmation of what either of those two actually look like. I mean, I have a slight guess about Hakamada, but yeah, nothing concrete. But I think what's most interesting about this is that I believe this is the first time that we see Ken Otsuka since episode 5, and it's the first time that we see Tadayoshi Yamamuro since all the way back at the very beginning of the Resurrection F arc. Looking at the supervisor list, you see Kitano and you see Manabe, and neither of those at this point in the series, I should say, are known for being all that great. And so the quality of this episode is pretty much entirely on the key animators who are obviously keeping this episode afloat. We aren't massive fans of Yamamura, but it's hard to really knock his input on this episode. He definitely helped deliver a finale that was obviously memorable for a lot of people. Ken Otsuka does the opening where Goku rushes at Hit, and you do get this sort of Z-esque looped frames, looped punching, which is fine. It's nostalgic. It's not fantastic, but I mean on the whole, it's an okay episode. And I think the reason that obviously you said that this might ruffle some feathers is that for me, this was such a letdown after 38. Sorry, because I mean, 38 is so interesting because of how Tate animates, because it's so dynamic, because it's so alive, and because it feels like a genuine fight that isn't conservative, that isn't bothered about sort of sticking to nostalgia for things that were never all that great in the first place. And so you get to 39 and you get all of this stuff that's so, even though it's sharp and even though it looks decent, it looks polished, it's not very interesting in my opinion. And to me, that kind of let me down, as this was meant to be the big finale.
Yeah, it always also hurts me inside a little every time I see Ken Otsuka not able to animate up to his standards. It hurts me
Yeah,
so
because
bad.
it definitely, because I don't think that many people are familiar with how good Kenotsuka actually is.
He
Like,
is
I think for
so
a lot,
good.
so good. Yeah, I think for a lot of people who maybe only got into animation through Dragon Ball, or only follow Dragon Ball animation, Otsuka is just kind of this name that you keep hearing about, who delivers nice looking stuff, but nothing as sort of crazy as sort of what you used to from like Higashide and Shida and Tate. Now he's a name that people keep saying, and you're not seeing the results really, which is really, really just a big shame, because he's terrific. He's really, really good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why we're not getting anything crazy from him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just the schedule. I mean, it probably is. I don't know. I don't know if that's just his personal, like the way he just wants to animate on the show or what, but it's kind of sad.
It is, but oh well. I don't want to knock this episode too much, because like it is good.
It's a
Like
fun
it,
episode. I
yeah.
like the episode.
But it's just my expectations were high after 38, and to sort of then see 39, it definitely brought me back down. But I think looking at it as a whole, like when I went back and marathon the arc, I was way less let down.
Yeah. And there was also that neat little cut near the end with, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, where Goku flies up in the air after punching Hit in the sky, and I like that part a lot.
Yeah, that's I think that's Hakamada. Like, to me, that's what I always kind of associated with his style from like Z and GT. But again, I don't know for 100%, but that's my guess.
Yeah. But if we want to talk about, weird quality drops, it's episode 40.
Which is like, oh god, someone we were joking about like Mob Psycho and like building up to 100% for like this arc of Super, like getting to 66 where everything just explodes. This is like where you go back down to zero again.
Yeah.
That's what episode 40 feels like, because it's Yashima, and I believe it's is it Yashima on his own?
No.
No,
He has,
quite a lot. Never mind.
not quite. He has like a lot of second key animators like cleaning him up, but that's
Okay.
typical.
So essentially, it was Yashima doing key animation by himself, which means the action is kind of bad and his art is really, 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 really rough. And then, obviously, because of the number of second key animators, I'm looking here. You have Miyuki Yokoyama, who's obviously very, very on model. You have Miyako Tsuji, who is not on model, but is at least pleasant to look at, and so it's inconsistent and is a really, really weird way to wrap up the arc.
Yeah, we were all very weirded out when we found out that Ishima was handling this episode, because it quite frankly didn't make sense at the time, but
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't terrible because there actually wasn't that much fighting in the episode. Like, it wasn't as heavily involved as we were fearing it would be.
Yeah, you just had they were just kind of staring at each other for a while, and then there was just terrible action for a bit, and then Hit just decided to become like Naruto and Trunks and start waving his hands around, and I don't know, it was bizarre, and then that arc just kind of wrapped up all of a sudden, and then like the king of all was there, the Omni King, and that was it, I think.
Yeah, and there's not much else to really say. It's Tsushima.
Yep.
It was okay. It wasn't terrible, but
Yeah.
also it wasn't exactly great.
No.
And neither is episode 41.
Yeah, episode 41 is so weird to me, because it's obviously you have Thomas Seizo back, or Seizo Toma, who, he's again being lackluster. There's nothing here that really screams, oh, this guy is great. You have Osamu Ishikawa, who's obviously known for drawing really on model, sort of very pretty looking work, and it's just barely found until sort of the end. And of course, the main attraction, if that's what you want to call it, is of course the Super Shenlong summoning, aka Super Goes PowerPoint.ppt. Like that, it's bad.
There's like no in betweening at all, and they even digitally rotated the dragon a couple of times. It was
That remains the
awful.
funniest thing I have ever seen in an anime ever. Like he goes around a planet, and
Yeah.
like just as he comes out from the turn, it snaps. Like there is
Oh my
no
god.
transition. It's just like animation, 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 keyframe, snap, and then let's take this single image and digitally rotate it, and that is, oh my
It
god,
was
it's so bad.
awful. I don't
And
know
then it
why they
goes
even did
on.
that.
It's unbelievable. Like the scene moves on. You suddenly there's this planet, and it's like someone took the drawing of Shenlong, opened the transform tool, and just went enlarge, and
Oh my
like oh,
god.
unbelievable. Like
It,
that to me, that was like, at this point they don't even care. What is this like there's running out of time, there's having no time to animate something, and then there's just sheer what the fuck is, like, how do you even excuse this? Like, I got asked a question on Twitter the other day, which was, do you ever cuss out animators, do you ever get angry? And I was like, yes.
all the time.
Jesus Christ, what is this? So yeah, that was like the one instance for me where I couldn't even begin to fathom it. Like, normally I'll go, oh, maybe they ran out of time, or maybe they couldn't do whatever. How do you, like, even if you run out of time for this, how does the guy in post-production sat there staring at After Effects go, well, phew, I mean, that'll do, and just hand it in? Like, even with a short amount of time, someone like me, who is a total amateur at After Effects, could have at least done something, anything, to try and mask that terrible, terrible piece of animation there. Like that,
Yeah.
like, I hate saying stuff like that. I hate saying, "Oh, I could do better," but genuinely, what was that? So bad.
I would have rather have had a CG dragon.
Yeah,
Honestly.
and that's a whole scary issue then, because like, obviously CG is not cheap, and you have to like render that out, and then, oh god, you can't win either way. Like, it's
No.
just so I don't even know.
It's it was pretty sad.
Yeah.
But
Oh
hey,
well.
at least 42 is fun.
Yes, thank God. 42 is everything that I needed after that episode. It was just like, we're back, and Shimanuki's here, and his art is, still looking decent, even though I feel like this episode was sort of a bit of a step back for him, which
little
I know,
bit.
yeah, maybe that's controversial to say, but I felt like this, compared to sort of some of the episodes we've seen earlier, was just a little bit less refined. Like, even though you did have some great shots of like Krillin and Goku, some of the other people had, the typical Shimanuki wide faces, the bizarre proportions. It wasn't perfect, but you do have people like Higashide and like Jin and Abba coming in and doing some cool action that, sort of makes up for that.
Yeah, sadly it was more well animated than most of the tournament arc was.
Yeah, that was depressing.
It really was. I guess there's not really much else to talk about that. Um,
Yeah, I don't really know what to say there. Like, again, Koji Nashizawa is here. I still don't know who he is. Like, and the reason I keep saying that is because there have been periods of time where I've gone, yeah, I think I know who you are now, and then I still have no idea. Like, I thought initially he was the dude with crazy pointy noses in episode 8, and then I was like, oh, maybe he's like super on model guy, and now I just don't know. And yeah, I mean, he's been a supervisor at this point, and I still don't know. So yeah, I mean, if he has an upcoming episode, hopefully I can work it out. But at the moment, he's a mystery to me.
yeah, so I guess we should just move on to 43, which
Yep.
is such a weird episode to me because I love it. I love it to pieces, but it's not well animated at all.
Yeah, this was where we saw Sadatoshi Matsuzaka, who I thought was a freelancer, but actually wasn't. And I think he animated on, or maybe he is, I don't know, but he animated on episode 66 as well, I think. But of course, we have no idea, what he looked like there. But at least in this episode, everything was pretty damn ugly in the first
Yeah.
half, and it was only really the second half which started to look a little bit better, and that's where I began to assume that Yoichi Onishi was a lot more sort of on model than maybe I'd thought before. And yeah, again, I still don't know either of these people very well, so it's hard to really talk about this episode. But what I can really say is that, of course, you have people like Higashide on this episode, who obviously has talent. Yeah, I mean it was okay. Like it's not an episode that really needs fantastic visuals, so there's not actually that much to talk about in the first place.
No, but like I said, great episode for every reason other than animation, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
But then we get to episode 44, which is the opposite.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Our boy Kurosawa coming in with Kinoshita and Kusanagi. Yeah, so what this is like a Studio One Puck episode.
Basically.
Yeah, like they just kind of like threw their entire stuff at this episode, and it turned out really, really nicely. Yeah, great. I mean, consistent from start to finish. I hate to use that term movie-like because that's so silly, but in terms of sort of comparing its consistency to a Dragon Ball film, then it's definitely there. Like I don't think there's a single bad looking thing in this.
No,
Yeah,
really.
I mean the action is pretty solid. You have Kurosawa doing some cool stuff, doing his great effects work on Kaio's planet with Goku. That was fun. And then there's some fun stuff with Trunks and Goten fighting the weird whatever the hell they were on this planet. And I believe there's some stuff with Vegeta towards the end that's sort of okay.
Yeah, and there was a wonderful like transition when Goku fires a Kamehameha on Kaio's planet, and then it goes to Jocko's spaceship.
Yeah, that was cool. I really like that.
Yeah, it it's such a shame that this episode looks so nice because it almost feels like a waste.
It does, yeah. I mean, I'm just noticing now you have Satsuki Aizu pretty high up the key animator list, which I don't want to say it's a first, but it's the first time I've noticed her or him so high up on a list like this. They usually key animate, which is interesting. So, yeah, I mean, more reasons why this episode looked cool.
Yeah, and the reason why it kind of feels like a waste is because during this filler arc that they have, which is before this upcoming big anticipated story arc with Future Trunks coming back, there for some reason having an action filled arc with tons of key animators thrown at it, and it's just weird to me.
Yeah, that is bizarre. Like, especially since we saw how desperately they were trying to sort of catch up with themselves at the beginning of the Universe 6 arc, to then do an arc like this that's just like 4 episodes worth of action is so strange. Like that's mind-blowing to me. Like if you're at Toei and you're thinking, wow, our show's in trouble here, you want to do an arc that's calm. But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it's just because maybe they just bit off more than they could chew, like they didn't anticipate things being as bad as they were or something. But yeah, it was dumb, and it means you end up with episodes like episode 45.
Oh God, which is again quality whiplash in like
So
the top
bad.
degree, because it was a Kitano, and this is where we were like really really bummed about Kitano.
Yeah, this is another example that Kitano with no time can't do anything. Just it's an ugly episode. The animation is abysmal. You have like 1 or 2 cuts from Higashide towards the end that is decent enough, but on the whole it's ugly. There are some of the ugliest shots I've seen in an episode in a long time towards the end of this one. It's not good, and I'd like to pretend it doesn't exist.
I would too. I mean, I didn't think it'd be possible for me to dislike a scene with background animation in it, but it happened.
Yeah, they managed it.
Yeah, they managed to do it.
Yeah, I think the only other sort of interesting thing before we move on to 46 is that maybe, just maybe, potentially, probably not, but maybe Tate did 1 or 2 uncredited cuts in this episode. But and I said this before, I'm still not convinced on that. Having looked back at it, I think it might have just been Higashide. Obviously, we know now that Higashide can be very, very loose in Tate, like when he wants to be. So
yeah. The only thing that would kind of clue off on Tate is during the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks versus Copy Vegeta fight, where he jumps up into the air and his arm turns into like a smear, and like that's something that I haven't really seen anyone else do that much. But
yeah, it's hard to tell, but like I don't know, the art is just so weird throughout. It's impossible. It's impossible to say for sure.
oddly enough, Yashima's episode 46 is better than this one, or than 45.
Yeah, this might actually be my favorite Yashima episode. The only key animators on it were Yashima, Higashide, and Hakamada. And to be perfectly honest, it's a good fight. Like, even though you do have Yashima's horrendous, absolutely horrendous character art popping up throughout, the actual movement is fine. Like, Yashima can animate, so it's not like it's the end of the world that things look kind of iffy in a filler arc like this. But yeah, the fight was fine. And again, this fight is better than so much of the tournament arc, so it's kind of depressing.
It is.
In that sense, yeah. But yeah, the art is saved for the most part thanks to Suji, of course, with Mama Suji with her great corrections, and Higashide, who of course is just a terrific animator all around.
Definitely. So, I guess that kind of wraps this arc up.
Christ, we got through that so fast.
We did. We're actually a little under an hour.
Wow, nailed it.
Awesome.
I think it's because this arc is so. It's so like, it's not bad, and so you don't have to be negative. Like, it's easier to talk about negativity than positivity. So when something's good, you just kind of go, yeah, it's good, and this person did it, and that's fine, and we love this, and then you move on. Whereas when something's bad, it's like, this is bad, and this is bad because X, Y, Z, and Q, and B, and C, and why the hell are they doing this? And yeah, he just kind of rambles. So yeah, yay for being concise. Woo!
Hooray! And we managed to do it with a lot more episodes. So that tells
learning.
You something about how much better it was. Still not great, obviously, but
we'll be going through the Future Trunks arc in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, I like this. Oh, this is good too. I also like this.
Good.
Yeah. Luckily, the filler arc didn't seem to hurt the Future Trunks stuff too bad, but I still don't understand it.
Yeah, it seemed okay. I don't know when they began animating stuff for the Future Trunks arc, but like, what was it? Episodes 47 and I don't want to talk too much about it, but like 47, 48, great. 49, iffy. 50, great. Like, yeah. There are so few episodes in this arc, considering how long it was, that are actually bad. Like, the Future Trunks arc is basically a normal show, which is so weird to think about.
Yeah, it's pretty darn close. I hope that with this, I guess they're gonna have another filler arc, maybe, I guess. And if they have one, I'm hoping that they don't, they aren't as heavy on the action this time.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we obviously just got the spoilers today. I won't talk about them because people are probably not watching this for spoilers. But yeah, it sounds like it's only going to be fairly short, this filler arc, and I don't know whether the last episode of this reveal is sort of a hint of a new arc, in which case that seems really soon and really weird, and don't really know what's going on there. But if it's like their own sort of mini arc bridging into a bigger thing, then wonderful. Then that's great. That's a good way of doing things. But yeah, I don't know about that.
We'll have to see.
We will. Do we want to do our favorites again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let's see. I guess so. Number one for me is obviously 38, because that is just like I said, that was me going back in time to being a child again. Like, I can't explain it, and like, even rewatching it now, I don't have the same reaction, but I don't think I'll ever forget the experience of watching that live. That was just so good for me. I loved it. Number two, that's a hard one. Maybe Kurosawa's episode. Honestly, I really like that. Even though it's not perfect, it's a really fun one. And then I guess third would probably be Tate's 32. I think it's 32.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun. Like the opening is fun. Everything about it is fun.
Yeah, mine would basically be the same. Although I might throw episode 44 in there. Just
44 is good.
Yeah, it's
Things
my third maybe.
I feel bad for leaving out 39 because it's really good, and I think if we were doing this in terms of like hype, then
That would
it
be
would
high.
probably, yeah, it would be, my list would probably be something like 38, 39, and I don't know, 37 or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in terms of like, since we're talking about animation that I really enjoyed, then yeah, that's my list.
All right. I guess. What would we rate it as a whole in terms of the animation?
I can never remember my ratings. What did I give Battle of Gods again?
God, I can't ever remember either. It
I
was
should
like,
really write these down.
yeah, it was like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, something like that. And then we gave. So, all right, I'm going to pretend that I gave Battle of Gods a 6. Didn't I give Resurrection F like a 3 or a 4 or something, or a
Yeah,
2? So, yeah, I guess this is probably like I don't know, like a 7.5,
yeah,
edging towards an 8 for a weekly show by Toei.
that yeah, that's about where I would be too, and that's why it's going to be interesting talking about the future Trunks arc whenever we get around to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to marathoning that. Like, I think as soon as this week's episode airs, I'll probably go back and just watch it all in one sitting and see how I feel about it.
Yeah,
Because it should be positive, I think, in terms of visuals.
yeah, and for that one we might have to split it up because it's basically the length of like 2 arcs,
Yeah, that is long.
but I don't know. We got through this one so quick that
Yeah, I think
we'll
we
have to
might be
see.
fine. Just because it's so positive that it should be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see.
there are only a few episodes in there that you can be like, okay, this was not good.
Yeah, and like even then, there's nothing that compares to some of the stuff that obviously we've ranted about this time.
Yeah,
Like, there's nothing in there that comes close to 41. There's nothing in there that is as terrible as, I don't know, whatever, 33. Like,
yeah. All right, I think that about does it. So
yeah.
we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
See you.